Hi, and welcome to Ida and her books. I'm Ida, and these are my books. Today I will be doing the Booktube newbie tag, because I'm still quite new to Booktube. Question number 1. Why did you start this channel? I started this channel because I wanted to try to make videos and get better at video editing and at speaking English. Is I think the beginning of why I started this channel. And then I was wondering what I wanted to start a channel about, and well, I read a lot. I also do a lot of other things, but reading is something that, as I said in my very first video, I've gotten back into this past year and a half. What better way to inspire me to read more than to have this channel where I can talk about what I read. I also had some experiences like the months before I started the channel where I was reading a lot of books, I was listening to a lot of audiobooks, and when I tried to talk to friends about them, because I like to talk about the books I read, it would be difficult because they wouldn't read the same books as I read, or they just didn't read as much as I did. And so if I wanted to talk about a book, I would either have to talk incoherently about something or first explain the entire plot of the book and then get to the parts I want to talk about. That's how I do with my partner. I still talk to him about all the books I read. And so, well, basically every day he comes home from work, I'm like, you know what happened in my book? This is what happened. And I have to tell him, like, first specify which book it is, because I read like 4 books at the same time. And then like what happened before to lead up to this, and then I tell him what was happening right now that made me want to talk about it. Yeah, I just wanted somewhere to talk about the books with people who read the same books that I do, so kind of like a discussion. Question number 2. What is some fun, unique things that you can bring to Booktube? What I wanted to do with my channel when I started it is just the same thing that all other booktubers do. Talk about books, make reviews, and all that. But I've had some thoughts lately about what I wanted to do. My last video was sort of a rant, and I like ranting. I was thinking about maybe doing more like sort of scripted talks about books, talk about tropes and those kind of things. And I know other people do that too, so I don't think that's a unique thing to do, but that's something I want to do with my channel. And another thing I was thinking about wanting to do is to just like read out loud. And that, I don't know if that's a thing that people will want to see, but once again I want to practice my English, and I thought if you could like, I could upload a reading like the first chapter of some of my favorite books, maybe I can inspire other people to want to read them, was my thought. So I might do that in the future, we'll see. So yeah, otherwise I just want to go with the flow and talk about the books that I read and have a good time. Question number 3. What are you most excited about with this new channel? I'm excited about finding other people who read the same books as I do and be able to talk to them and have discussions about the books. I'm excited about having a place to share my thoughts and my feelings about the books I read, whether positive or negative. I'm excited to have someone or someone's to talk to. I'm also excited about reading more, because already I've had this channel for 2 months and I'm already reading so much more than I did before I started it, just because it's sort of an obligation. It's like, because I have this channel I need to read, so I have something to talk about, and so far it's not like a difficult thing to read because I love to read, and so I'm just excited to have like another reason to pick up a book. I'm also excited about remembering what I've read, because I read so much and I've read so much in my life that sometimes I just get this like memory flash of like some image from a book and I have no idea what book that was. And I'm excited to remember the books I've read so I can go back and see what I've read previously. Even books I have on my shelves, I don't remember if I read them, and so I reread them. And I don't mind rereading books, but with this channel I can remember what I have read. It's like a diary for books. And yeah, I'm excited about that. Question number 4. Why do you love reading? I love reading because it's like an escape from the real world. I love reading fantasy and sci-fi and steampunk and those kinds of books. That is very much different from our own world, and it's like you can be transported to somewhere completely different and live someone else's life for a moment. That is an amazing experience. I don't understand people who don't read. I think it's weird when someone says, oh, I don't read. I'm like, why not? How do you live your life? Yeah, so that's why I love reading. I also love learning new things. The last book I read was historical fiction, and I learned quite a lot about, well, that time period where it took place. Books from the 17th, 18th, 19th century, even if it's steampunk, there's still some parts of truth of the history of that country. And so I love learning. I have always loved reading. Like, I'm quite certain, I know memories of this, but I'm quite certain that my parents read books for me when I was a kid, and then read books with me, and then it just translated into me reading books myself. From like 6th grade, when I was 11, 12, I was that person who always had books with me to school, so during breaks or between classes, I read books. That's what I did. I read several books a week, and then when I got into high school, I sort of had like a break for a few years when I didn't read as much. I would still spend a lot of time in the library. I still read a lot, just not as much. And so now I'm getting back into reading, and I just love it. It's such an amazing experience to just sit down and just read, and I could read like an entire book in a sitting. Question number 5. What book or series got you into reading? And that, like I said, my parents read for me when I was a child. I'm quite certain that is why I read. But the series I remember reading the most when I was a child was the Nancy Drew series. Her name is Kitty in Swedish. That's why I still have them. I read them so many times, and I had so many, and I just loved them so much. I wouldn't say they're one of the best series I read, but I did read a lot of them when I was young, and they're part of the reason I read so much now. This is definitely one of the first series that I read and I really, really loved. And that's why I still have them. I don't know if I'm gonna reread them, but after I moved out from my parents' house, my mom was gonna throw away a lot of children's books, and these were among them, and I could not see her throw them away, so I took them all. And so I have them now, and it's just a nice reminder of where I started. So I always like mystery books as well, because these are good mysteries. Question number 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktuber? I don't know what I would ask. I would ask where they find their books so cheaply, but most of them answered them already. One I watch a lot is Books with Emily Fox, and apparently her library just has so many cheap books they're selling. My library doesn't sell books, so I don't know where they get so many cheap books. And you have to go to like an actual bookstore, or like some secondhand store have books, but I mean, any popular books get sold out right away, so if they end up there in the first place. I got some books secondhand. I got J.K. Rowling's The Casual Vacancy. I got secondhand, actually, in very good condition, and I got Sophie's World secondhand, and a couple of others. But most of the books I pick up secondhand are not like, oh, this one I wanted to read for a while. It's more like, oh, this seems interesting. Question number 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be hardest to overcome? I think so far it's been uploading consistently, because when I started uploading, Saturdays just became like a natural day, because, well, I had school and other things during the weekdays. But now during the summer, I still do things every day. I try uploading Saturdays, but sometimes it's like in the middle of the night. It's last video was on Friday, because I was leaving town for an entire weekend. I wouldn't have any internet. So things like that, like having consistency in my uploads. I've actually been quite good so far to plan ahead what I'm gonna do. so that has not been a problem, but it might be coming up with like what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna film. I have some suggestions for future videos. That actually became a slight problem like 2 weeks ago when I was sitting writing down what I was gonna do, and I didn't know. That's why I'm doing this one now, because I didn't know what I was gonna upload. And then like a few days later I saw that the Booktubeathon was just a few weeks away, so I was like, ooh, I can do that and that will be some videos. Having consistency and having material. I like doing reviews, but then I have to have something to review. And I do read a lot of books, but some of them are like, they might be good or enjoyable, but don't have that much to say about them, and then I could just do like a wrap up at the end of the month, or now at the end of the summer, and talk about them briefly. That was all the questions in this tag. I don't have anyone in particular to tag. I want to tag anyone who feels like they want to do this tag. And so yeah, that's all I had for you today. Bye!